Oxford University student who was dubbed too bright to go to jail after stabbing her then boyfriend has now dropped out of her degree. Lavinia Woodward, who was 26, attacked lover Thomas Fairclough with a bread knife after drinking heavily at Christ Church College in 2016. After admitting unlawful wounding, the judge decided that she was too bright for prison, arguing it could damage her future career as a heart surgeon. She was sentenced to 10 months behind bars, suspended for 18 months. Miss Woodward paused her studies after a court appearance, choosing to wait for it to blow over before she returned to university. But the treasurer for Christ Church has since confirmed that she has formally withdrawn from the college and the university. She is now reportedly living in a £1 million Kensington flat with her boyfriend, Philip Klagosky, the son of Russian billionaire oligarch Konstantin Klavosky. The student was said to be a high-flying academic, and her research on lipoproteins and vein grafts has been published in journals. An unnamed friend said at the time of her sentencing, "I think they will be very happy to have her back, and that she will end up returning quietly. She's done some very interesting work in cardiology." They described her as a future Nobel Prize winner. Miss Woodward was arrested in December 2016 after Mr. Fairclough went to visit her in Oxford. He had tried to stop her from drinking, and she became increasingly volatile before flying into a rage when she discovered he had Skyped her mum for assistance with the situation. She then began throwing objects at the Cambridge student, including a laptop, a glass and a jam jar, before stabbing him in the leg with a bread knife. Emergency services arrived to find Miss Woodward intoxicated, deeply distraught and mentally disturbed. She planned to turn the knife on herself before Mr. Fairclough disarmed her. In court, she admitted unlawful wounding and was sentenced in September 2017, with Judge Ian Pringle QC stating that she was an extraordinary, able young lady. He called the incident a one-off before describing her as a highly intelligent individual. The sentencing was met with controversy, as justice campaigners claimed it would not have happened if she had been a different gender or had come from a poor background. Thug Reece Booth yelled, "I'm a gangster" in a Jamaican accent and then punched a man so hard he suffered a stroke. Reece Booth reacted to being suspected of shoplifting by swearing, claiming that he is a gangster and punching the security guard. A security guard suffered a stroke after being punched by the suspected shoplifter at an Asda store in Leeds. Reece Booth reacted to being suspected of shoplifting in the Middleton store by using Jamaican Patois swear words, claiming he is a gangster and punching the security guard. The 21-year-old of Autumn Grove, Burley, Leeds was jailed for 2.5 years after pleading guilty to inflicting grievous bodily harm. He also pleaded guilty to an affray in relation to an attack in which a group racially abused a woman at Leeds Coach Station before attacking her boyfriend with railings and chairs. Prosecutor Mark Kellett said Mr. Booth attacked the security guard on February 27, 2019. Mr. Kellett said a woman was seen acting suspiciously in the store before joining 3 others outside, including Mr. Booth and an 11-year-old boy. A security guard stopped the group in the doorway and asked for the receipt of the items in the woman's basket. Leeds Crown Court heard Mr. Booth immediately became aggressive and started taking off his jacket. A security officer was joined by some of her colleagues as Mr. Booth started speaking in Jamaican Patois and said, "Look me up on Facebook, I'm a gangster." He then asked why he was speaking in an African language, and he replied, "My mum's half-caste, you racist bastard." The defendant then swung a punch which struck the male security guard on the chin. The victim developed pain to the left side of his ear after the attack. The prosecutor said he felt like his eyes were going to burst from their sockets, and his speech became slurred. An ambulance was called, and the doctor later informed him he had suffered a stroke as a result of the trauma of the incident. Mr. Kellett said the injury caused by the defendant aggravated a pre-existing condition the victim had suffered 3 years earlier. Mr. Booth and another defendant, Adam Barker, were also involved in an attack on a couple at the National Express coach station in Leeds city centre on December 28, 2018. Mr. Kellett said the couple were on their way to the station where Mr. Booth shouted racial abuse at the woman. Both Mr. Booth and Mr. Barker were with 4 other males who turned violent when they were challenged over the comments. The group carried out a sustained attack on the couple and used metal railings and chairs to attack them. Mr. Booth, described as the ringleader of the attack, removed his belt during the attack and used it to hit the couple. The victim suffered a broken jaw and the attack only ended when security officers intervened. Police were called to the area after being contacted by a frightened member of the public who reported that a gang had been using a stun gun on people at random. Mr. Barker, 19 of Bridge Farm, Beeston, Leeds, pleaded guilty to an affray and possession of a prohibited weapon. Cara Firth, mitigating for Mr. Booth, said her client regrets both incidents and understands the harm he caused. She said he committed the offences to fit in with his peers, but has now distanced himself from these people. She said the soon-to-be father suffers from type 1 diabetes, but does not look after it well. Edison Flint, mitigating for Mr. Barker, said his client was aged 17 at the time of the affray. Mr. Flint said Mr. Barker accepted being in possession of the taser when the police arrived, but had not been responsible for discharging the weapon during the incident. Mr. Barker was sent to the Young Offenders Institute for a year and 2 months. Describing the affray offence, Judge Robin Mears told the defendants, "This was mob violence in a public area. Those two people were set upon by your group like a pack of animals.